Do you think Shopify is a good buy at the current valuation?
Well, I wouldn't ever use valuation as an underlying thesis for buying Shopify. That would be my suggestion there. It's not cheap. I think it'd be one that you turn to the financials and you get turned off pretty quickly still, despite fantastic growth numbers all around. And everything I see about that company, though, they are just expanding their tentacles quarter after quarter, and building out this sort of robust offering that certainly makes me intrigued by what's ahead over the next 5 years. My stance has not changed one iota on the company's sort of direction and its ability to sort of continue expanding in e-commerce and I just the dang valuation is the issue. If you could sort of just close your eyes and think about the company and where it's headed, that's I think the best way to do it. And it's another where you got to have a 5-year sort of mentality about it, because it's probably going to be volatile. We've had a nice run of late over the past 6 months or even a year. That's probably going to be not nice at some point. So I don't know. I really like what the company is doing, as I understand it, and the business. I'm less keen on the valuation, but it's one where I sort of put my David Gardner hat on and ignore the valuation, and I just want to see the company succeed.
Yeah, Shopify's.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's an extreme example of kind of what is the underlying earnings power if you start to normalize some of these expenses, particularly R&D. I mean, R&D cannot grow the way it has the last 5 years forever, or it'll be more than revenue. It's just the growth in R&D has been ridiculous. At some point, it comes back down to something probably more normal, even for a tech company. I mean, it's almost as big as their SG&A at this point. Whereas just 2 years ago, it was half, or 3 years ago, it was about half. It's, 80% or something now of SG&A expense. It's not normal. It's one of those where it really does require going in and digging through the pieces and thinking about it if you're going to try to actually value what the underlying earnings power.
And I mean, the return on that R&D probably isn't going to become evident for
years.
Years. Yeah, like that's right. So they I mean, we sort of, as they were issuing, they would do some stock issuance through the crazy times when the stock was hurtling higher, as they should have. They loaded up their balance sheet with cash, and that's smart. It's what you should do. And now they're like deploying that cash into bolstering their offering. Also smart if they're able to generate a return in the years ahead. And that's the big piece of the puzzle that we're still. That's what we need to find out.
I'll add something in there. You guys
Debate.
know Shopify better than I, because it's good. I mean, we're having a discussion here, so we can have divergent opinions. But
no, we must fall in line.
I agree with the value stuff. I would say the bigger question, I think, then for you guys is, it's a bet on the person who's leading this company.
Correct.
And so if you believe in Toby and his abilities and leadership, then you're probably interested. I would say, as somebody who's looked at it in the past, I'm not a big fan of Toby. And I think there's a question on whether this business is being run for insiders or for shareholders. Look at stock-based comp. I'll give you one hit. Look at that over a time. But anyhow, I was just saying, I've listened to speeches given by Toby and read some of his things. He's not the kind of leader I like to align with. So I would just say, for me, it was an easy pass looking at leadership, and he's
have fun staying poor.
What's that?
Have fun staying poor.
Okay.
So they've done an interesting thing where, so I agree. And I think Toby and I share public speaking abilities. Not great. And I thought that, and I will say, from any time I've heard him in more recently, he's been better, but especially
he's being coached. Yeah.
Back in 2016, 2017, it was really choppy on a conference call with him. But they do have a very eloquent number two that has taken over all public engagement duties. Harley Finkelstein is his name, and much smoother, much more suited, much better suited to sort of speaking in public. And I wanted to also go back to like that huge run, like, and in hindsight, good gosh, why didn't we blow this thing out at 70 times sales? I had never, that was like a first experience for me. I had never been part of anything like that. And again, in hindsight, it was mismanaged, but I mean, I just would continually go back to the company, and the company was doing great. And it was like, close your eyes and just think that the company is going to continue to build and evolve and expand its tentacles, and let the multiple do as it does. And the multiple wasn't very friendly. So it crashed. We've sort of learned, we've taken that lesson, I think, and maybe done some things that other foolish services have not done, like pushed NVIDIA out, pushed the Trade Desk out of Stock Advisor. So it was a bit of a learning experience. And frankly, I hope I get to live it again. Another situation.
Too, in the time, in hindsight, this is easier than it is when you're in it. But when the world's interest rates go to 0%, the multiples, particularly for growth stocks, just go hyperbolic, right? Because if you're, I mean, it's just the fundamentals of the way it works. But the reality is, discount rates aren't going to be 1% anymore. Right. They've gone up, so that it should, those stocks that were priced for all that growth are the ones that took the biggest hit. And it doesn't mean, by the way, doesn't mean I'm right about Shopify or it's going to be a bad investment. I'm just saying, like, I would, if I was invested in it, I would want to feel really confident in the leadership abilities of Toby, Luke, and that's just not me. So it doesn't mean I'm right. There's plenty of people that have questioned on leadership that gone on to do good things. I just have where I fall on it.
Yeah. Totally. Well, of course, as Iain already well knows, that Toby Lutke is the greatest Canadian since Don Cherry and Terry Fox. So
I
just insulted the whole country there. Not even remotely. I will say though, to Ian's point, as he's wearing the hair shirt a little bit here. How many times did you make Shopify a best buy now at 70 times sales? Right. I haven't looked, but I'm willing to bet it's zero. Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's not that we were unaware of the valuation. It's just like, no one likes to get off, no one likes to get off the ride when, and again, our whole stance on Shopify since early 2016 has been, put this away, look at it in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, because that was the rule breaker-esque type thing. So we are 7 years into that, 6.5 years into that. So I'm fine with it. Go ahead.
10 times is good over 7 years. 50 times is over 5 years is better, but here we are.